Hello and welcome, Esther here. So today I just wanted to look at clarifying life messages, where you're journeying to, what's changing. There's been such a shift in the energy, and November is such a miraculous time to really be in the heart, really doing that inner healing, the inner light work, really transforming the self. So you've got Valley of Shadows, step into the enveloping Valley of Shadows. Here fears are faced and the courage is forged in dimly lit places. Wow. So you're clearly doing the shadow work. We'll see what else comes through. What else, Spirit? Thank you for the highest and best good of the collective. Thank you. Worth the effort. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. So you also got worth the effort. So embrace challenges, opportunities for growth, knowing your dedication will lead to rewarding discoveries. So most likely you may even be traveling, collective, if you're really kind of connecting with this already. But you've gone through deep inner work, deep inner introspection, and a lot of shedding this year. So this may be you may be feeling kind of vulnerable, in kind of a vulnerable spot, but also this excitement and acceleration for the future. And that is definitely coming through because you've got ignite your soul. Look at this fire energy. That's amazing. So this is embrace the mysteries of life, stay open-minded, and embrace the wisdom that unfolds from every experience. So you may be feeling like everything transformed. You're having to really build the new collective and really emerge in that fire, that courageous energy, reigniting the flame of whom you are. Because whatever changed and shifted, it was because it was no longer aligned. There was no more growth there. So although this is, a really deep, this feels really deep, like with the Valley of Shadows, like this deep inner re-exploration of not only the self, but your life path, where you belong. You may be finding that you really need to emerge into this 2.0 version of the self, a virgin. So you may feel quite, vulnerable in that sense, for sure. You've got fulfill promise, stay committed to your path, for each step forward brings you closer to your destined fulfillment. So all this inner work, just know like this is not forever, right? So there may have been a lot of grief, a lot of transformation. Perhaps you had to let go of relationships or homes or jobs or even locations. And Spirit is saying, you're so close to this 2.0 version of yourself. You're so close to this reemergence into the world to allow yourself to glow and be this beautiful light. Because November was really a month where humanity energetically kind of had to go within, right? And that's why we need the heart right now so much. The heart. And just saying to yourself, like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And whatever you need to say to the past in that way, right? Or even past versions of yourself, where you kept yourself small or limited, or where you were in places that you really didn't belong. So you kind of suffered in many, many ways. And you may have found that, there were waves of even depression this year, or feeling incredibly scared and lost. And Spirit is saying, like, this is what's moving behind you. That is of the past. That is not you now and forward. Where you're going is this reemergence to reignite your soul. This is where you've remained brave, and slow and steady wins the race. It's about continuing forward, not losing sight of your gifts and your paths and what you want to create in the world. Because as soon as you step into more of a spiritually aligned path, which you most likely have, it can bring not only an immense amount of tower moments, but also within the being, and where you're having to let go of old elements of self, or old patterns, or old habits, or old conditioning, or thoughts. And so this is where it can be quite overwhelming, like even attuning your nervous system into receiving and feeling light and bright, knowing that you can trust it, right? And where you're allowing yourself to receive once more. You're allowing yourself to be loved the way that you deserve to be loved, especially with how you give out. So Spirit is really saying, act with clarity, focus your intentions, and navigate decisions with clear insight and purpose. That's the other oracle that came through. So your baseline, collective, is a lot. Like with seeing worth the effort here, it's like this slow climb. Like you've been emerging out of the muck. You've been rebirthing the self. You've been doing the shadow work. You've been facing your fears. You have been facing uncertainty. You've been going push-pull in all kinds of directions. And especially with the energy of November, it's like you're focusing on those healthier elements. You're focusing on, I want to place my energy back into my health, back into my self-worth, and back into my brilliance. And this is where really you're going to be taking off immensely, because this is about where you're reigniting the passions and whom you really are, taking off the masks and being willing to show up in the world authentically and honestly for yourself, and you'll be respected and celebrated for it. There's a lot of success here. So Spirit, can we get a little clarity on this, in this transformation for the collective, this deep soul work? Like this is not the energy here feels quite heavy. So you may have experienced, different forms of, depression and different elements where it was like hopelessness. And Spirit is saying, you don't need to feel like that. And it's not forever. This too shall pass, right? This is just a moment in time, because it's, you're releasing all the heaviness. All the heaviness was released. And so now it's like this clarity and this passion sparks back. This willingness to really strive forth with your worth and your values, your inner courage, igniting your soul, igniting that fire within, and knowing that this world is abundant and you do belong, you do matter, your life matters. Your soul came here to be that which sparks new change and this element of the forward movement. And so where you were trying to fit in the past was not actually where you belonged. And that can be quite painful to let go of, because you just want to fit, you just want to belong, you just want to be loved. And you are, because you are re-emerging that within, which is really bringing in all those relationships and this newness of what you really deserve, as well as work opportunities. See where you're traveling to, collective. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, that's quite a lot. So 3 came out. Workplace, productive environment, creative zone, technology hub. So you're creating something new. There's been something that you've been wanting to create, collective, that is entrepreneurial. And so you may have found that this was really connected to your soul, and to really bear whom you are can be incredibly vulnerable. So that's what you're feeling, is like this transcendence of fear, which has really happened a lot in November, especially, is this beautiful blooming of how the collective has been able to come back to the heart center and really transform any fears, doubts, worries, anxieties, because you got mountain, elevation, and perspective. You've climbed to the mountaintop. You now have this higher view because you were willing to continue the inner work. You were willing to strive forward even through the darkest of days, even when you were scared, even when you felt alone and lost. And Spirit says you were never alone and lost. You were exactly where you're meant to be. And it's leading you to not only your highest timeline, but it's leading you to your glow up. It's leading you to your value and your worth within. It's leading you to where you belong, where you've always belonged, which was to shine. And you also got rest and relaxation, pause and ponder. So making sure to balance, because with this workplace, you're going to be really busy. Your work is going to take off, it's going to be respected, it's going to be acknowledged, and you have to balance it with the rest and really reattaining the balance within your being. So meditative practices, spiritual practices, especially because your gifts are only amplifying, right? So this vibrational resonance that you're now gifting off is really what's carrying you forth. And that is no small feat. That is quite powerful. So let's get a little tarot here for you, collective, and bring in a little bit of clarity, because Spirit is saying what you've gone through and where you're going is the 2.0 version of you. You are going to be unrecognizable, especially to those of the past. And you're really in this powerful, strengthening, igniting your soul, your spirit, and it's worth everything. You're fulfilling the promise to yourself, why you came at this time, why you incarnated at this time. Wow. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, so a lot of abundance pouring through here, collective. Queen of Pentacles is all about prosperity. This is where you're really stepping into creative work. So this is definitely an entrepreneurial. You're definitely a very gifted soul spirit, and you have an important mission. And it has brought you to the deepest crumbling this year so that you could reignite your soul in its truth and step forward. So you literally had to burn away a lot. And that's where the Valley of Shadows came in, because who you really are is this Queen of Pentacles. Who you are emerging into, who you really are, is this abundant, fertile, creative, imaginative, important soul. And your gifts are so deeply needed. This is where you're intuitively led. This is where your third eye is carrying you. And there is major success. So I'm sending you so much love and so much congratulations, because whomever has gone through this is no small feat. This was a huge rebirth. And you may have found that every element of your life had shifted in some way or another. So this is really facing your fears, the challenges, and overcoming it gloriously. And this is where you are really, really someone who is caring for the welfare of others. This is where you've been a nurturing and kind and beautiful, loving soul. You have the most beautiful soul song, the most beautiful heart, and you're meant to shine in that glory. And just know that you are birthing into being an incredibly successful businesswoman or businessman. This is the Queen of Pentacles. This is having abundance in more ways than you could ever imagine. This is health, this is environment, this is career, this is money, this is stability, this is beauty, this is friendships, relationships, synchronicities, collaborations. It's a very powerful boss energy, like amazing glow up energy. And it's going to be incredibly lucrative and long lasting. So do not fear, all this rebirthing. Spirit, anything else for collective? Thank you. All this rebirthing has been for your highest good. All of your tears have not been in vain. All of this facing the pain and the uncertainty is truly where you've had to meet these tests, because each of these elements were actually to strengthen you, to sharpen your intuition, sharpen your foresight and your discernment, but also to rebirth your worth and your value and your inner love, your inner light. And this is where your soul has ignited. Oh my gosh, 4 Pentacles. So yes, this is where you feel like you're shedding the old, you're letting go, right? You may have to budget and be really mindful for a little while as you forge forth into this new elevation, because this is where your voice is now free. Your throat chakra has become free. You are free. And this is where, with the 4 Pentacles, it's like you're no longer holding on to the past. You're no longer holding on to elements that never gave back to you in the way that you really needed or deserved. This is where you're going to be recognized and loved for whom you are, having more than enough in this overflow of the Queen of Pentacles. Because this is where you've let go of people, possessions, You've been really sharing and caring, and, you've had to really be brave and let go of a lot to really ignite your soul and really find where you belong, connecting with your soul tribe and really releasing all of those harder, more painful aspects of life that really let you down, really broke your heart, most likely. And Spirit is saying, that was necessary, because it's really what's cracked you open into blooming into the true you. Thank you, Spirit. Yeah. Oh, wow. King of Cups. 5 of Pentacles. 2 of Swords. Knight of Wands. Yeah. So you're really striving forth, following your heart, collective. You're leaving behind the hardship where you felt like you were not seen, you were not valued for whom you really are, which is why it had to break away. But it doesn't mean that it's not painful, right? Even when we know that certain things are no longer for us, it's very painful. But you're striving forth in your heart. You're trusting your intuition, breaking free from these chains, right? The 2 of Swords is really about facing your fears. It's not allowing all the challenge and turmoil to overtake you, but rather to strengthen you to become a part of your wisdom and your resilience. And it's where you are now willing to be more introspective, because you're birthing out to the King of Cups, and that's really emotional intelligence. That's really where you're trusting the self, where you have this wealth of knowledge that needs to be shared, this wealth of knowledge that's going to not only help others, but all the challenges and obstacles that you went through are now going to be those seeds of wisdom, that gold that you're really rebirthing out into the world, and really helping others to do the same, because this is where you're motivating others. This is someone who is a very emotionally mature and stable. This is also intuition. So collective, this is essentially like an entire life rebirth. It's brand new, which can feel very vulnerable. However, that is a part of the key, is this essence of now you're trusting in your intuition, you're trusting in yourself, in your faith, in your knowingness that you are more than enough. You are loved, you are valued, you are a beautiful, beautiful soul having a human experience, and you came with immense amount of gifts. And these gifts are going to bring you so much clarity, so much joy, and be the seeds of so much light to all that around you, and a lot of success. This is where your life is now this beautiful moving prayer of heart-centered energy, of light and love, and you will receive all of that as you give it out, right? You are now receiving that for the first time, probably more than you ever knew was possible, because you're now receiving for your value, your worth, your time, You're being seen and recognized by the right souls, those who really honor your prosperity and your success, and you're being highly valued. This is a very Piscean card. You really understand the deeper inner workings of the soul. You understand the deeper workings of this path. Four of Swords, yeah, letting go of a lot of fear and anxiety. So you're still in a rest period, collective. You may feel like November was quite intense. And that's fair, because November really is about coming back to the heart, coming back to gratitude, coming back to knowing that you are beautiful, you are capable, you are deeply loved, and you deeply matter. So making sure to nourish your being kind to your being, connecting in elements that really make you feel safe and whole and held and loved. And because you got 10 of Pentacles, it's all coming out. You're going to be incredibly successful, collective. So if you've gone through an immense amount of pain this year, it was not for anything. In fact, it was because you chose a spiritual path. It's because this is what was necessary to really birth you into your glory, birth you into your glow up, birth you into this shining bright light, because it's strengthened you, it's grounded you. This is where wealth and stability and security and prosperity comes in. This is where you feel like you have more success than you could have ever imagined. You have others who really are there for you, loyalty and friendship and family. This is finding your community and having more than enough to carry you, and then to also overpour for others. Like, this is sharing the wealth if you want, but it's having more than enough for yourself, for your family. This is living in major abundance and comfort, and it's long-term success, collective. So just know the culmination of all of this. You have massive abundance coming in, and this time of transformation, introspection, healing, it's all been necessary. It's been intense, but this is igniting your soul. And it's no small feat. It's not for the faint of heart. So you should be immensely proud, because this is not easy. And it's scary to really emerge in your authenticity, in your gifts, to shine that out to the world. But the world needs you, and you're being called. And you were always meant to be this shining bright light for humanity, for the earth, and especially for yourself. So I'm just sending you so much light and love. This was an intense one. So really, really be proud of yourself, because this was no small amount of rebirthing. This is where you went really deep. This is where everything truly shed away. You really have emerged as a 2.0 version of yourself. You are going to take off like wildfire in the new year. Because from now until the end of the year, I think this is where you're just regenerating, right? And working behind the scenes, keeping it quite private. But this is taking off. This is massive success, massive joy. So keep going. Slow and steady wins the race, and you got it, and you are deeply loved. This is absolutely major success. This is absolutely your time to shine, your time to lead your highest timeline, your time to truly honor your soul spirit and live a life of color, joy, prosperity, harmony, peace, abundance. You are abundant. You are loved. You are more than enough. And you're incredibly needed. So thank you for doing this immense work, because this wisdom that you've birthed from your life experience is what's going to gift so much for those that you help. So much in this entrepreneurial element, and probably new love coming in as well. So Much love and light. Cheers.